Zipper rolls out to the right, pitches off to Taylor, and Taylor's to the 20, down to the 15, down to 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Billy Taylor! Touchdown, Billy Taylor! Billy Taylor scored a touchdown from 21 yards out. The crowd goes berserk. It was November 22nd, 1969. That they came to Barry, Michigan, all dressed in maize and blue. The words were said, the prayers were read, and everybody cried. But when they closed the coffin, there was someone else inside. Oh, they came to Barry, Michigan, but Michigan wasn't dead. And when the game was over, it was someone else instead. 11 Michigan Wolverines put on the gloves of gray, and as the organ played the victors, they laid Woody Hayes away. Under center is Wangler at the 45. He goes back. He's looking for a receiver. He throws downfield to Carter. Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Welcome to the Michigan Man Podcast on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew, for Wolverine fans from coast to coast.
Go Blue, and welcome to the Michigan Game Day Show for the Fresno State opener on Saturday night. I'm your host, Mike Fitzpatrick. Joining us in a few minutes to share his thoughts on Team 145 and the opener will be the radio play-by-play voice of our Wolverines, Doug Karsch. I'm certain, just like me, you have heard enough previews and speculation about this year's team. Finally, the rubber meets the road on Saturday night in the Big House, and we get to see some football. And it cannot get here soon enough. At his Monday presser this week, first-year Fresno State head coach Tim Skipper was asked if his team was prepared for the environment in the Big House.
I love hostile environments, to be honest with you. I think that's the magic of college football. You get 110 in a stadium, and it's loud, it's rocking, you can't hear. You want it to be as hard as it could possibly be. That's just the way how I think about it. We did a lot of stuff with noise. We played crowd noise over the speakers and things like that, and with the coaches having to communicate with the players with the new technology that we have in the helmets and things like that. We definitely have a lot of tools we can use. We'll see exactly how loud it is and when it gets loud, and we'll go to the tools that we need, but we've definitely been practicing that.
Coach was asked if being a double-digit underdog against Michigan will help his team play loose.
I never think about losing. I think about it's 0-0 and we breathe the same air, so why not go out there and try to win? But college football is hard. I mean, every game's going to be hard no matter who we're playing, and we just stick to our plan, play hard, play Bulldog football, and let the chips fall as they may. So that's kind of how I look at it, but I'm not a negative guy. I'm more a positive guy, so I think about trying to find ways to win.
Skipper was asked how he approached getting ready to face two very different Michigan quarterbacks.
College football every year, the roster's going to change, and they still haven't decided on who their starting quarterback's going to be. So we've had to practice against different styles. We've been doing that since last week. So we'll see what happens during the game. We're anticipating seeing both, and we're ready to see both. They're going to do however they're going to do it, and then we're going to have to adjust. And you get ready, you see all the stuff they did last year, and then you get in the first game, and then there's going to be new wrinkles because they obviously have good coaching staff also. So they're going to do things that are good for their quarterbacks and their O-line and their running back and all that type of stuff. So we'll see how it goes. It's a game of adjustments. It really is. And it's not halftime adjustments. This is going to be series-to-series adjustments. If we wait till halftime, this game will be over. So we'll be adjusting as we go.
Coach was asked for his thoughts on the opener being a high-profile game with two African-American head coaches.
Definitely. That's always a discussion, right? And we're trying to get to where that's a normal thing. It's not a story every time. So I think a lot of African-Americans, me included, are appreciative of the opportunities, and we need to take advantage of the opportunities when we get them. And fortunately, we have two African-American coaches that will square off on NBC national TV. And my goal is to hopefully that's not the story. It's not a question. It's kind of the norm. And once we get to that point, it'll be awesome to get there. So hopefully that happens. But he's done a great job over there, Stromore, and we'll keep it going. And hopefully a lot of guys behind us will be able to get the opportunity as well. So excited about that.
Bulldog defensive coordinator Kevin Coyle said that forcing turnovers will be a priority for his defense.
Certainly. I mean, we would be very, very happy to be sitting on the bench watching our offense Saturday night. But we know that The turnover battle, as we say each week, is going to be critical. We're going to have to take the ball away. We're going to have to try to get them behind schedule in order to get into third downs where we feel we can utilize some of the things that we do very well on third down against them. That's all going to come into play. But getting the ball back, and like you mentioned, they're a methodical team. They're not in a hurry like some teams that we play. Now, as I say that, they could come out and no huddle and race up and down the field on Saturday. But, we see that every day in practice. We go against that type of offense. We see no huddle stuff all the time. So, they kind of slow the game down and play to their advantage, play to their defense, and just keep pounding and grinding on you. So we're going to have to do a good job of finding ways to get drive stops and get off the field.
Coyle was asked if his defense is prepared to face this Michigan offense.
You always go into the first game feeling like you have a pretty good handle on an opponent. The difficulty about this particular team is that there are a lot of newcomers on their offense, and the quarterback situation being, I won't call it unsettled, but it's not certain like it has been. So how they implement their scheme with the quarterbacks, whoever plays in the game, it'll be the first time that we're seeing it. So, but as far as us knowing what they've done in the past, I feel really good about that. Now, stopping it is a whole nother ball of wax right here. But we're going to know if they stay true to form, we'll be able to anticipate some things. And the players will, because the players have extra time. We've gone through many teach sessions, even during training camp, where you don't necessarily tell them these are Michigan plays, but they are Michigan plays that you sprinkle in so that they see those and they get extra reps on them. But they're plays that everybody else runs too. You follow me? So we'll see. I feel good about it.
My guest today says Michigan has plenty of talent, but there are still questions that need to be answered. Most importantly, who will be under center on Saturday and how they handle their opportunities. Up next is the radio play-by-play voice of our Wolverines, Doug Karsch. So stay with us. With us today as we prepare for the big home opener against Fresno State on Saturday night is radio play-by-play voice of our Wolverines, Doug Karsch. Great to have you back, Doug.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Doug, it's hard to believe here we are ready for another season, defending Big Ten and national champions. And I'll start with the question that I get from my listeners every day. Who will be the starting quarterback on Saturday, and will we even know before kickoff?
I suspect that we won't know before kickoff, but there's no question I will ask Sharon Moore on the pregame show, and maybe he will tell us before the game kicks off. It's probably not in their best interest to announce it anyway. So I have, it's their program. They can do whatever they want. I would suspect that if the game goes well, if they are taking care of business, Fresno's, they're not a slouch. This is a team that could contend in the Mountain West with Boise. If they can take care of business, they probably would like to get multiple quarterback snaps to give Texas some stuff to think about. But honestly, when you're breaking in so many new pieces, I think you have to make sure you take care of business first. And, a team like Michigan with a defense like Michigan and with playoff aspirations, you think, of course, you take care of Fresno. But the bottom line is there are always first game jitters and stuff that you don't know is going to be a problem. So I don't count these games as sure wins. And they had veteran offenses, and, JJ coming back. I thought the last 2 years we kind of knew what was going to happen in the opener. This time, I don't think you mess around at all. You start your best guy and make sure you get the win before you start another quarterback. And if that quarterback's struggling, you make a change.
Absolutely. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens on Saturday night. A lot of stuff coming out of camp, as there is every year at this time, and there's been a lot of really high praise for the offensive line from inside camp, saying that it's going to be very good. It's going to be interesting, though, to see how far along these guys are come Saturday night, isn't it?
There's no shortage of scrutiny on the offensive line in our broadcast because John Jansen pays close attention, but he has been to some practices, he has watched some film, and he has come away very encouraged with what he has seen from this offensive line. And I will tell you that Gio El-Hadi has been John's favorite for a couple of years now as far as the next wave of offensive linemen. He's played a lot. He's a really mature kid. He's 20 going on 35, and they're happy with what Miles Hinton has shown, and it'd be good to see him string together a few good quarters and get some confidence up. Josh Preeb was an All Big Ten performer last year at Northwestern, and then there's the battles at center and right tackle. But John seems to think that they're battles between good players, and it's who's going to just be better as opposed to trying to find a starting caliber guy. I think they have several options at both center and right tackle.
Well, it's exciting to hear what John has to say, and of course the glowing words we're hearing from camp. But the fact of the matter is, as you said, there's a lot of new pieces, so it could take time, even though we don't have a lot of time, for this to mesh together.
Yeah, and it's a great year for a coach to be debuting as a full-time coach. It's a great year to be breaking in so many new pieces, and it's a great year to be playing this schedule. The new format in college football, it's hard to imagine making the playoff and it being considered a disappointment. So Michigan can probably absorb 2 losses and still be in the playoff mix. I'm not sure if they can absorb 3. That comes down to how many losses teams around them have. But, there's a lot that adds up here to this being a kind of season that they wouldn't have been probably a playoff contender under the old format. Under this format, sure, you can afford to lose a game or 2 and still get in. And, with so many new pieces, they're going to be growing pains. And, I think they could still be a playoff team. They're going to have to find a way to win one of those home games, probably 2 of the games against Oregon, USC, and Texas. But if they win 2 of them, I think they'll be sitting in good shape as long as they take care of business elsewhere.
Well, Doug, as we approach the opener from your vantage point, what excites you the most about the possibilities with the offense?
Well, something that Sharon Moore said in his radio show on Monday night, and something that I talked to Kurt Campbell, the offensive coordinator, about that I just find hard to believe, but they both basically said the same thing. They think this offense is going to be faster than last year's offense. Mind you, they lost Roman Wilson, who had great speed, Cornelius Johnson, they lost Blake Corum, but they think that they've got a faster option of running back in Donovan Edwards. They think Colston Loveland is faster than he was a year ago. They think Marlon Klein, the backup tight end, is freakishly fast. And then their wideouts, Samaj, Fred Moore in particular, got mentioned. So, look, last year's offense was obviously ran the table. They were perfect, and they have a lot of weapons and guys that are getting opportunities in the NFL. But probably that was the thing that caught me off guard the most that I didn't expect. Now, there's a difference between physically fast and playing fast, right?
Right.
You have to get comfortable. If you know what you're doing and things are, just instinctive for a player, they can play faster. But they apparently have the physical tools to be faster offensively than they were a year ago. It's just a matter of ramping up and getting to understand so they're not thinking while they're playing.
Well, flipping it over to the defensive side, for most of us, I think the only question is, can this defense be close to as good as it has been for the last 3 years? I think it can be. What's your take?
I think it'll be better than it's been. I think Jayshawn Barham in the middle is an absolute beast. And I think their most talented players from a year ago, many of them have taken steps forward. Will Johnson, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant. And again, I talk to Jansen all the time, and he's always focusing on line play. And John thinks incredibly highly of Derek Moore off one edge. And Josiah Stewart is one of the hardest workers on the team, considered one of the hardest workers on the team. So, I think the ability is there. Always when you're breaking in new parts, will Jair Sugar Hill be able to hold down and not get picked on the corner opposite of Will Johnson? I think the one thing that calls my belief that they'll be better into question is it hurt losing Rod Moore, man.
Mm-hmm.
But they got a lot of talent there at safety. They like Zeke Berry. Quentin Johnson's a veteran player that knows where to be and made some huge plays last year, the Penn State game, the Ohio State game. So, there's veterans and there's depth at every level. So I think that defense, is going to even be better.
Well, I was watching Wink Martindale at his presser the other day, and he has that just a very confident kind of attitude. He really thinks his defense is going to be tenacious and fast and just awesome, but it's going to be interesting to see what he does over there as far as pushing the buttons, isn't it?
Yeah, so a couple things about him. Mason Graham said earlier this week that when he wants to communicate a point, it is received. Like he's a no-nonsense kind of guy, and the players respect him, and he gets his point across. He also said something really interesting. He said a loud defense is a great defense, and he's referring to communication, but I also think the way that they play the game, when you hit people and the cracking of the pads, and remember, they call him the OG. He was the original designer of the defense that Mike McDonald had, and Jesse Minter had, and it was these are guys who tutored under him, brought that Ravens defense to Michigan, and it was his design. So not a whole lot different. It's just the guy that originally installed it is now the defensive coordinator in Michigan. He's got to get used to the college game, and he said as much. The recruiting, and he said, hey, there's no preseason, but it's still football. And so I think Michigan fans should be very pleased and excited about him coordinating this defense.
Well, Saturday night, Fresno State rolls into town for the much-awaited home opener, and they are no patsy. This program has been solid for a long time, and they have some very good athletes. So this is more than a good test in the opener, isn't it?
Yeah, Mikey Keene, their quarterback, last year debuted a transfer from UCF, but he debuted at Purdue and set a career high, threw for 360-something yards. And they can sling it, and they got veteran wide receivers, and they got veteran running backs. They got some guys up front that have been around. So, it's kind of a typical Mountain West team that plays a lot of offense. And, they were a middle-of-the-pack Mountain West defense, which doesn't bode great for them. So they're looking to improve their defense. They lost Jeff Tedford back in July, and their defensive coordinator is taken over, and Coach Skipper. So we'll see. We'll see how they adjust to him as the head coach. But you know how Jeff Tedford offenses can be. They've got a reputation, and it's what he's made his name on. So, I said it earlier. You got to make sure you take care of business. I mean, I guess it goes back to I was on the sidelines for that App State game, so I know that these non-Power 5, and in that case an FCS team, if they're good, they can give you problems, and so you better show up and play.
Yeah, remembering App State, I hate to think about that, but you never know what you're going to get in the opener. There are nerves, new coaches, a lot of new starters, primetime night opener. Still, this should give us a good idea where this team is right now, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think if it goes really well, it'll be a confident group going into Texas. Sometimes you almost don't want it to go well so that the coaches have a lot of film. And I don't mean lose the game, but I mean do enough that you give the coaches plenty to harp on and to emphasize going into a massive game against Texas. And also maybe have Texas coming a little overconfident. So don't panic if it's not perfect on Saturday night. But yeah, I like the matchup. I like the schedule. It's going to be a lot of fun week in, week out. I mean, it's every other week. There's a massive game.
Even with all of the questions we have about this team, it's going to be a great environment, a spectacle, as it always is in the Big House on Saturday night. But coming off a Big Ten championship and a national championship, it should be a special kind of an atmosphere, Doug.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of former players back, and obviously all season long they'll be paying homage to the 2023 15-0 team, and certainly that's something that Michigan fans can be excited about, looking forward to. And you're right. Enthusiasm is high. I warn fans. I guess I don't need to warn fans, but remember that a loss isn't fatal anymore, and it's okay. It's just as long as you get better week to week, and try to get to the finish line with no more than 2 losses. I think a 2-loss Michigan team, given their schedule, gets in. There's a chance a 3-loss Michigan team gets in. So everything's changed. I wasn't a huge fan of the changes, but I don't want to turn into a dinosaur and just say it was better back in my day. So I'm hoping that the new world order of college football is as fun as it was in the old world order, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Doug, final question before we let you get away, and you've just sort of glossed over this a minute ago too, but if Michigan is able to get solid production from whoever the quarterback is this season, and that's what we're going to start seeing Saturday night, you noted it's a brutal schedule. We all know that. Do you really envision this team as being capable of being 10-2 or 9-3 this season?
Oh, without question. Oh, yeah. With that defense, I mean, look, the way I look at it is last year an Iowa team with no offense and a great defense. Under this year's format, that Iowa team would have come dangerously close to making a playoff appearance. Now, this is a tougher schedule, but I also think Michigan's offense is better than Iowa's offense was a year ago. And, yeah, it's a tough schedule, but there's so many critical games at home, right? I mean, you've got Oregon, USC, and Texas all at home. I think of all the newcomers that they're playing, probably the team to play on the road is Washington, given that their whole roster got gutted, man. I mean, that was a lot of trend. I really like Jed Fish as a coach, but they have so much to replace there. It's hard to know what they're going to be. So I think the schedule, while hard, does have some things that work in Michigan's favor. Winning the Texas game would go a long way towards jump-starting and getting everyone in again and believing that this team can be special. So could they be a playoff team? Absolutely. And something that I love as we get closer and closer to the season, more and more of the experts nationally are counting Michigan out. And I just don't think that hurts them in practice. It doesn't really hurt them in any way. It probably motivates them even more. So, go ahead and just do what people are doing, which is they're a bold pick to leave out of the playoffs.
Well, we'll start getting some answers in just a couple of days. I know everyone can't wait, and we can't wait to tune in to you and John and hear what you have to say during the game. So I know it's your very busy, it's very busy all year for you, but particularly from here until the playoffs. So we'd like to thank radio play-by-play voice of our Wolverines, Doug Karsch, for taking time from his busy schedule to join us. We appreciate it, Doug, and we hope to have you back on in the future.
No problems, anytime.
On Quick Hits today, from what we know, the team is in good health heading into the opener. Mason Graham has been banged up in camp, but he says he's ready to go. Here are a few game day notes of interest. This will be the first meeting between the two schools. Tim Skipper is in his first year as head coach. He took over the job this summer when Jeff Tedford stepped away due to health reasons. Skipper is a former Bulldog player. Last year, Fresno State was 9-4 overall, 4-4 in the Mountain West. They finished the season unranked. They return 8 starters on offense, 5 on defense. They played in the New Mexico Bowl last year and beat New Mexico State 37-10. Kickoff is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. and will be broadcast on NBC. The weatherman says, at least right now, that it should be a perfect night for football. Daytime highs are supposed to be around 80, dipping into the 70s or upper 60s by game time. There is a slight chance of rain, and winds will be light and variable around 8 miles per hour. So here we are. The Big Ten and national championships are in the rearview mirror. We'll savor them forever, but it is time to move on and start another chapter. Anticipation has been growing for this game by the day since camp started. Expectations are sky high, as they should be, but you never know it's real until you tee it up against another opponent. Fresno State is a good program, and this should be a really good test for Michigan. So enjoy the atmosphere and the game. Next week it gets very real. Number 4 Texas will pay a visit to Ann Arbor. Only the second time these two storied programs have played. The first meeting was a classic in the 2005 Rose Bowl, a 38-37 Texas win. My scheduled guests on Tuesday's Visitors Edition are either Longhorn Radio play-by-play voice Craig Way or beat writer Danny Davis from the Austin American-Statesman. We'll see whose schedule allows them to join us. Then on Thursday's Michigan Game Day show, we'll be joined by the Angel of the Big House, beat writer Angelique Schengelis from the Detroit News. So tell your Wolverine family and friends about the show and join us again next week. That does it for now. Have a great Wolverine weekend, everyone. I'm your host, Mike Fitzpatrick. Think victory, beat Fresno State. Until we meet again, take care, and as always, go blue.
Thanks for joining us today on The Michigan Man, here on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew. Our listener lines are open 24/7 for your calls at 313-263-4842. That's 313-263-4842. Or email us at themichiganmanpodcast@yahoo.com. That's themichiganmanpodcast@yahoo.com. The Michigan Man Podcast is produced at the studios of Robin Lynn Productions, Allen Park, Michigan, and is not affiliated with the University of Michigan. Go Blue!